and welcome to another exciting episode of Interfaith Friends podcast, a ministry of Shepherd of the Lake Lutheran Church, where we value our neighbor's faith. We honor the sacred stories of our neighbors as we learn from one another and work together to foster a more just and peaceful world. Today, I am thrilled to have joining us once again my friend and amazing colleague in interfaith work, Prabhat Tekriwal. He was with us a few months ago to talk about Diwali. So that was a sort of a very specific conversation. And today we're going to pull back and talk more broadly about Hinduism, which is the faith that my friend Prabhat practices and teaches about. So Prabhat, take it away. What is Hinduism in 20 minutes or less? Tell us everything about it and how it impacts your life and how you practice in 20 minutes.
So first of all, let me also introduce very briefly myself. Namaste, Laila, and everybody in the audience. My name is Prabhat Tekriwal, as Laila mentioned, and I come from India originally. And I moved to the United States as a student about 39 years ago. Went through my graduate school here, master's, PhD, and whatnot. And then I worked for several corporations, including GE, Verizon, British Petroleum, Bosch, so many companies. And because of my background, having grown in India up until the age of 20 years or so, I do know a little bit about Hinduism. And to your point, Laila, it is so vast, so I do have that disclaimer that we cannot possibly cover, nor that I am qualified to cover really, the vastness, the richness, Hinduism. It is a way of life rather than a religion. Religion is a very narrow definition, actually, what we really call Dharma in Sanskrit or Hindi. So it teaches you Dharma. And Dharma, a loose translation is a religion, but Dharma, and also another interpretation, but the meaning is duties. Dharma is duties. So what Hinduism, when I say Hinduism is a way to lead life, it teaches you Dharma. So what is Dharma? So Dharma is... Dharma provides, or Hinduism provides, the guidance how to act in any given scenario, no matter how difficult, in accordance with one's innate nature. We call it Swadharma, meaning self-duty or self-dharma. So that's what it teaches you, which is for the larger good when you have some conflict sometimes. As an example, I can give you, having worked for so many corporations in the US and abroad as well, as part of the work, one goes through the conflict that, my personal goal is this or my department goal is this, and it may be sometimes in slight or even major conflict with the company goal. So at that time, then, I have derived my guidance from the larger good. What is the company goal? It is aligned with that, then the departmental goal, then my self goal or the individual goal. So that's what Dharma. And then I also mentioned in accordance with, commensurate with one's innate nature. We all do possess a little bit different nature. So for the same scenario, one might have a guidance to act one way, let's say a king versus in the old times, versus, let's say, a teacher or a consultant or an advisor or somebody who carries out the orders from anybody, the service class people, so to speak. And we all are, service class people in some way or the other. We do provide service to our communities as part of our living, as part of our profession, basically being part of the society at large.
So I love what you said about Hinduism is not a religion; it's a way of life. It brings you back to the original meaning of the word religion. It's the same kind of root word as ligament, which like holds all the things together, right? It's a framework of understanding life and the world and why we're here and what this is all about and all of the things, right? It ties together all of the experiences that we have and all of the questions that we have and the mystery. And so I love that.
Yeah, I like that actually. That comes closer than just calling it religion. Once I understand your analogy with ligaments, bringing it all together.
Yeah, but we don't, when we talk about religion though, that's not where our minds go initially, right? It's like, oh, there's these like separate things, right? But I feel like we're all sort of asking the same questions, right? And yeah, so it's fascinating to me, and so I love that.
Very good. I will keep that in mind. Next time I explain. That religion is not just a simple word. There is some meaning behind it. Yeah. Just like I explained, the Dharma is.
Yeah. So when you talk about we all have our innate nature, we talk in the Christian tradition about bearing the image of God. And so we talk about how like our innate nature is that we are children of God. And by we, that means everybody, right? All of creation and all the people and everything. So is that similar to the innate nature, or is it like, did I hear you say that it's more specific for each person? Like do you mean like each person's sort of like unique reason for being or unique calling in the world or unique set of gifts and skills? And can you say more about that innate nature?
Yes. Yeah. Let me answer that, try to answer that in two parts. So first of all, the similarity, as you said, so yes, in the Hinduism, so like, when I said namaste in the beginning, so what does namaste mean? So namaste is that, the divinity in me, in my body, vows to the divinity in your body or in anybody's physique or body, right? So what does that mean? So an invisible, unchanging Atma or the soul residing in each of the bodies of every species, including the human beings. So that forms the identity, of all the human beings, of all the creatures in this world. And that is the basis for all the discussions in Hinduism. And that's in Christianity also, I think. Yeah. I have a quote in one of the slides. I'll pull up. So that forms the basis for all discussions, starting with Vedas, that are the scriptures of Hindus. There are 4 of them. And they are indisputably, I would claim, the ancient most scriptures that is available to mankind in the current world. So that is one part. And while I'm at it, let me pull up that quote, if I can share the screen here. Let's see, share. This is not, it's not going. Okay, let me escape. So I'll just do it from here. It will take, it's just wasting time. Yeah. So here, I have a quote from Bible, Matthew 4:4. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by the Spirit within.
Yeah.
So, and let's see. I'm going to stop sharing here. I'll just use the others. I don't know why it didn't work. Maybe it was the other one. Does this work? Do you see it?
Nope. We practiced this. I swear we did. That's all right. No problem. Okay. So we're talking about the spirit within, right? And can you tell me
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the second part that I was going to, because you talked about the innate nature, right? So how does it vary? So that part is common, as I said, right? The realization of the spirit within or the soul within in each of the creatures, right? In everybody. So then the second part, when we talk about the innate nature and how it varies from one person to another, especially in, we talk about people here, and then it extends to really, other creatures as well. But for human beings, so we have largely like 4 categories that we divide the society in. And then they have different responsibility, and so some of these are inborn, and that doesn't mean that it cannot change over time. But you are born with that innate nature, and there are 4 categories. The first one is called Brahman. It doesn't have a first one, Brahman. So Brahmans are supposed to be the advisors. They are the knowledgeable people, knowledge of the society. Then you have Kshatriyas, and Kshatriyas are kind of protection, is their innate nature. So they'll be the kings, or maybe current day politicians, or the presidents or prime ministers. And then they have the third kind called Vaishyas. They are the sustainers. They would be the farmers, the business people. And the fourth one we call Shudras, and they take your orders. So they do not, initiate. They are not necessarily the leaders, but all the 3 other categories, when they instruct something, they will follow the order. Perhaps I can demonstrate it better with an example. Mm-hmm. So let's say we have to build a church or a temple or a synagogue. And so first, there'll be an architect, he'll give us the design. So that would be the Brahman. Then the second kind would be the Kshatriyas, I called in Hinduism. So Kshatriyas would be, in this case, the project manager, who will line up, all the people, the electricians, the plumbers, or the bricklayers, so that kind of thing, or the, nail, the nail pushers, what do you call them? And so the third kind would be the Vaishyas, the sustainers. So they are the people, they will raise funds for the temple or the church. So their nature would be such that he or she will approach to one of us, and they will make us part with our money and yet feel happy about it. That's their nature. And the fourth kind, so all these things are done, but temple is not built yet, right? Mm-hmm. So then needs somebody really, to put that wood up, to make that 4x4, and then put the nail to bring them together. Mm-hmm. So that's the fourth kind. So basically, it is a structure for the orderly, ongoing or for orderly movement of the society and its people. So that's how the nature is. So in some case, whereas, for the same scenario, Brahman, a knowledgeable person, he will be more like forgiving. Maybe that's his duty. That's the innate nature that drives him. Whereas, a ruler or protector will go along with, some kind of punishment if it's a bad work, or reward. So the person who is knowledgeable, for him or her, the dualities don't matter. He has risen above the dualities of the world. Pleasure and pain are alike. So whereas, for the ruler, for the society to run, there has to be some system that we will have to guide ourselves by. And that's how, their innate nature will guide, and therefore their duties will vary in the same scenario. So that's the connotation there.
That's helpful. Thank you. So can you say again the word that you used for that innate nature?
Swadharma.
Okay.
So Swadharma is, Swa means self, Dharma means duty.
Okay.
So my duty or self
Sure.
duty. That's
Sure.
innate
And then
nature.
the
And
animating force is
yeah. So and there are four kinds. I said the four divisions in the society at large, right?
Yeah.
So the first word is Brahman, the person with knowledge.
Okay.
The second one is Kshatriyas, the person who protects with strength, the fighters, the kings, the warriors. So it's called Kshatriyas, Kshatriya. The first one was Brahman, Brahman. And then the third kind is Vaishya, Vaishya, the sustainers, the farmers, the businessmen, the growers, they provide for us. And the fourth one is Shudras, Shudra, SHUD as in David, RA, and they are the executors.
Okay. So I know that there's sort of a common misconception that Hinduism has that you have, I don't know, thousands of gods, right?
Yes.
And that when we talk about the monotheistic religions, we're talking about Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. But what I'm hearing you say is that there's really, like, Hinduism is also a monotheistic
way
of life or religion, right? Can you say more about that?
Yes, you said thousands, and to be more accurate, they say 330 million.
Wait a second, what?
330
how
million
many
of them, actually.
Million
Yeah.
deities.
Yeah, so it's like a population of the United States, right? The current population of the United States, right?
Yeah, that's so fun. Yeah.
So we have, so Indians have as many gods as the number of people in the US, we can say. Right? So actually, you are right, Laila. It is monotheistic. There is one God, no doubt about that at all. So from time to time, the God manifests himself or herself, either way, because they do come in Devi form also, Devi being the ladies, in a lady's form. So in those different caricatures or images or their reincarnations, they come to accomplish different tasks, or that was the need of the society at the time. So for instance, at one time, he was a half lion, half man, because he had to destroy this demon who was all powerful. And then he had a boon, a blessing from God also in prior life, that he can't be killed in water, not in the air, not on the on the surface and all that. So the story goes that when this God appeared, his name is Nar Singh. Nar is man, Singh is lion, so man and lion. So his head was like a lion. So he put this demon on his lap, and then he really tore his chest. So there are many stories. So, but and then also, Laila, in the beginning, when you saw the image of my first slide, with the god with elephant head, his name is Lord Ganesh. So the elephant had big head, so he is all wise, and we invoke that god when we set out to doing something, so that he can remove the obstacles from the way, so that we are more successful than not. So, then we have goddess Durga, and Durga is the symbol of, or the goddess of power. So she, like whenever we need some power, some strength, then we invoke that lady god. Similarly, I really love education because, as you heard in my introduction, I did go through not education not only in India, but in my graduate schools over here also, and three universities actually over here, and more. So, there is a separate, deity called Saraswati. She is goddess of education, goddess of music, goddess of art. So it has been my habit whenever I start a new note, probably I have in this one too, on the very first page. Yeah, there it is. Very first page I will write. You can't see it, but it says Ma Saraswati ki jai. So Saraswati is the name, Saraswati, and I have some images, but I don't have it up on the screen. So it had my habit because I loved education. Education is what got me somewhere in life. Having grown up in a really very very poor family, and then I got to United States also because of my education. So I invoke that lady God, whenever I start a new book. So that's the goddess of education. Similarly, we have, goddess of wealth, also Lakshmi. So when we are, going after materialistic things, we invoke her.
Oh yeah, we talked about Lakshmi when we were talking about Diwali.
Yes, very true. Because she is the presiding deity for Diwali. Yeah. Goddess Lakshmi is the presiding deity for Diwali. You're right. I'm glad you remember it.
My job is lifelong learning. So
and then one of the gods also very famous is called Shankar or Shiva. So Shiva is, he's always in meditation, always calm, cool, and collected, meaning he's beyond what's transpiring before our eyes. So there are 4 yogas that are mentioned in Gita. One of them is called Dhyana Yoga, or achieving the one, God, the goal, through meditation. So we invoke that God when we are in meditation, or he gives that vibe to us so that no matter what conflicts or what things are going on in your life, with that mindset, you rise above, because anything shall pass.
Yeah.
So you derive that notion, that knowledge, through that image of God, so to speak, or deity.
Yeah, I think there's something really, I don't know if comforting is the word, reassuring is the word, but to think about because, sometimes I'll get into I know that in my understanding and my experience of God and my tradition, it's God's always with me. God is, is able to guide me and sustain me through anything that comes. And sometimes when I'm in the middle of it, in it, it's I feel like this, and it seems like it would just be. It seems like one of the gifts of having 334 million?
330 million.
330 million deities. Yes. Is that you can maybe your brain remembers, or you remember there's actually a specific example of how the one God, right? The creator, sustainer, right? The animating force.
Yes.
There's this really specific example of how this particular thing that I'm in was accomplished or moved through or whatever it is. So.
Yes, very true, because our mind capacity is infinite. I have read that typically we use 3% of our capabilities in our mundane daily life. Einstein has been stated to have used about 6% of his mind capability, and then he invented the theory of relativity, and then time and space are related, and and then at speed of light, you know time doesn't matter. The future, present, and past are the same at speed of light, because there is no distinction there. So, and then many of the things that I do study in scriptures, they relate to science, because science is, in my opinion, a continual, if not continuous, attempt to uncover things that exist in nature, and that are so vast that we will never be complete. So when we say, when your analogy is good, correct, because in this vast expanse of these capabilities, how do you tap onto a particular type? So we are just kind of stimulating, or for that particular moment, that particular capability of our infinite mind, or the mind with infinite capacity, so that we complete the task better, the task at hand, right? We complete it better, the task at hand. So yes, that is true. It does relate to our daily life, or our bodies and our mind and capacity thereof.
Yeah. Well, believe it or not, we are already bumping up on our time.
Yeah. one thing I should, it just came to my mind. When it comes to Hinduism, people think of karma and reincarnation, right? So our talk perhaps will not be complete unless we just briefly touch on it.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
that's a theory of karma and reincarnation. So here's the way to understand it, or interpret it. The theory of karma is basically, as you sow, so shall you reap. That's what karma is. So basically, our present is the result of the past. Our future will be the result of the past and present.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what theory of karma is. So if you combine the theory of karma in or with the belief in reincarnation, I would say belief, right? Because not everybody will believe. So if you combine the two, that perhaps is the most logical way to explain the differences among human beings or any two creatures. So we have currently about 750 billion people on this earth, and then many more creatures. No two people are alike. Even if they are identical twins, they will have different education or different mindset. They may appear the same, the hair and the color and the height, but still, they will do different things in their walks of life. Their nature, that innate nature included, right, will be different. So theory of karma, allied with belief in reincarnation, explains the differences between any two people.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Logically, yeah.
Thank you. Well, I hope we get a chance to do this again.
Sure. I would, as I said earlier, I would love to do it in person also, should the environment, permit us.
Yes, for sure. For sure. As soon as we're able to do that, we will. So I want to thank you again to everyone who joined us today, and a special thanks to my friend and colleague, Prabhat. I very much appreciate your time and your generosity of spirit, and just you in this world. So we close with namaste.
Namaste. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Laila. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah. Take care.
Bye-bye.